Okay, family, we are live. Sorry about the technical difficulties there, but my computer turned off, crashed. I had to reboot it. But we are here, and it's going to be a very informative discussion here. Greetings to everyone in the chat. Greetings, Powahatan 9 Man. Welcome. We'll quickly just start off with a quick song here, family. Hold on one second. This isn't the song, by the way. Okay. All right. So, just wanted to kind of play that for a few seconds there, family. We're going to get started here. Um, I was originally on Legendary Topcat's channel yesterday, and shout outs to him. And I was motivated to do this presentation by some comments made by some youngsters on his channel. And make sure I'm loud and clear. Type a 1 in the chat, family, if you can hear me. Mic check. Hold on a second. This will be audible there. Okay, thanks a lot there, Marlon. That's made up TV. Okay, so and for I'm on the battlefield, family. I'm in the trenches. I'm well beyond the curtain. I pulled the curtain back a couple of years ago, and I see everything that most people unfortunately can't see. So, but when I hear individuals, acquiescing and freely giving away their birthrights, or they could be operatives paid to distract, as we know we are at war. Um, but those individuals were under the belief that pale skins were the landlords, and in particular owned the plantation homes in South Carolina. That could not be further from the truth, right? And again, we unfortunately have all been victims of witches and warlocks, and they are very powerful, and we've been under a grand spell, a very powerful spell, right? And but we some of us have managed to break out of that spell. Well, unfortunately, the majority of us are still under the spell, but it's those few that have broken the spell. It's our duty and mandate to share information and help others break the spell as well. Uh, Hence, that's why I'm here, presenting about information that hopefully the family will view as very valuable. Because again, we are at war. We don't have a lot of time, and um, again, as my previous presentation regarding the genealogical warfare, we're going to extend on that again, and we're going to get into landlords, and one in particular we will feature later on in the presentation, the Gaylord family, the illustrious Gaylord family out of South Carolina. Um, and fortunately, the remaining heir, Shirley Gaylord, still owns her land that was passed down to her from her ancestors. So we will share that information. I shared a lot of that in previous presentations a few years ago, but I will reintroduce that information again with that specific family. And then, once in a while, this will be another series, a landlord series, where we will feature, landlords who are granted, land grants, land patents, of individuals back in the past. Because we need to actually see the models. We need to see those templates that will hopefully, in return, motivate us to honor our own ancestors by researching our genealogy and confirming whether or not our ancestors left us a national treasure in the form of, land inheritance, right? So this is the purpose of this here. Now, getting back to the genealogical warfare, as we mentioned before, Eris Johnson and I, we are being scammed. Um, and I'm sure many of us are familiar with the classical Nigerian scams, one of which is to you receive an email and it's some individual saying that they're part of the royal Nigerian family, but they're having problems accessing their bank accounts, and they'll need us to send them some money, to this particular bank location. And this particular scam generates billions of dollars globally per year, family. And then, the sucker will send money to that account, and they'll accumulate a few thousand suckers, and before you know it, they've amassed, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even into the millions of dollars. That's just one of many classical Nigerian scams. So, there are other, and this whole, taking many of us, recruiting us, and selling the idea of going to parts of West Africa, Ghana, etc., to set up a new life. But the catch is you have to buy land, right? Um, Now, just to remind the family, when it comes to law, if your ancestors actually came from there, right? You have what's called at law a birthright heirship claim. You wouldn't have to buy land; they would have to give you land. Okay, so just like the Ashkenazi, who when they set up, Israel in 1947, 48, and they were bringing over the Russian Ashkenazis over to there. They didn't have to buy land. They gave them land and gave them finances to start. That's how it works. But since they know we are dumb as a box of rocks, they'll sell it to us. Oh, come on back home and help build up our economy. Buy this and buy that. It's a hustle, right? So we're going to continue exposing that, and we'll start that off. And so to that end, I want to show this quick video of the president of Ghana, right? Um, and their plan to recruit and promote, because they were the ones who launched the Year of Return in 2019, right? And it was very, very successful. They made, I think, oh my God, it's countless of millions of dollars they made off of that promotion. And it's continued every year, right? So let's quickly share that right here. 1 second. Oh, let me share my screen first. I'll do that. I think that'd be a great idea. Hold on a second. Share the screen. Share screen. Right there. Share. Okay. There we go. I believe I'm sharing. Oh, welcome, Dr. Baker Williams. Greetings, Janet. King, welcome. Welcome, Marlon. O'Green. Welcome there. Welcome, D. Glad to have you there. And Danny Boy. Welcome, Noble. Shrugs in the house. Welcome, Shrugs. OG Green Machine. Never Hungry Again. Welcome. And welcome to everyone there. Okay, so, and as you know, family, once I get going into my presentation, I don't really look at the chat, so forgive me because I'm focused on my notes here. So let's run this off real quick here. Well, can you reclaim artifacts? Yes, Ogun, if you can find them. Like if your ancestor, was in the war, and like I have on one individual, their ancestor received a sword. If you can locate that sword out of a museum or a private collector, you can't put a claim in it. You can put a claim for that. You can file that, legally. You can sue them for it or negotiate. And if sometimes they may be willing to sell it back to you at a reasonable price. But yes, you can go after that's your property in the form of personal property, right? So you can definitely go after that. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Marlon. Is that better? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Am I clear? Am I clear, family? Hold on. I don't see the comments. 1, yes, that's better. Okay, thanks, Marlon. Thanks for reminding me there, bro. Appreciate that. So let's get going with this recruitment video here from the president of Ghana. Let's make this bigger. Full screen.
Akufo-Addo made a speech about African Americans, and it's currently going viral, even though the video is a bit old because he made that speech during the US Africa Summit, which just concluded last month. Let me show you the clip, we'll come back and discuss.
The impact of a successful Africa on the image and standing of Africans in the diaspora applies with equal force to the image and standing of her sons and daughters who go by the name African Americans, and indeed to all her kith and kin in the Americas and the Caribbean. There's a lot of room for your perspectives and energies back in Africa. The second half of the 20th century witnessed a great blow for human progress and freedom when the African peoples, in the wake of Ghana's shining example, liberated themselves from the colonial and imperialist yoke and the racist ideology of apartheid and emerged as free, independent peoples to construct new nations of hope and advancement. The first half of the 21st century should consolidate this development and see the growth of modern, prosperous, technologically advanced nations within a united Africa, which will make a reality of the dream of the 21st century as the African century and bring dignity and respect to Black people all over the world.
We love to see this, especially coming from an African leader. We don't hear this a lot, and we need to hear it more often. We hear it from the people. We say we want unity. We say we want to, understand the history and cultures of each other. And we also say that we would like to build the bridge and fill that gap. We've said that all, but we also need our governments to be involved because they are in the position of power. They be able to make it accessible and easy to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. In his speech, he addressed African Americans specifically. So, like, my question would be, are you making it easier when it comes to the visa processing, the passport? Are you making it easier for Africa?
Okay, family. So, and this is a channel here, and she's Ethiopian, and she's on this channel line. Then there's a brother, Philip Scott, who's your classical Pan Africanist, and but yeah. So we see that from the president of Ghana, right? And that was last year during the summit there. Um, and now he clearly said those who go by the name African American. Now remember, in my last presentation, family, I had mentioned that last year I did a presentation on Mr. Kerry Davis's platform where I introduced the trademark, the African American mark. It's a mark, family. It's a trademark to be specific, and is owned by China, a Chinese individual. And as I mentioned in the last presentation, someone snit. Again, we are surrounded by operatives, and it's no longer the operatives that are funded by the CIA family or the FBI. No, China's the puppet master now. Okay, the pale skins in America all sold out to China, including your so-called president, right? And doing their bidding. So somehow it got back to them that we found out about them owning that trademark on the United States Patent and Trade Office, and it voila, it disappeared. So when you go on to the United States Patent and Trade Office website and you type in African American to search the trademark, it does not there. So of course they have the power to do that, but we are resourceful. You can run, but you can never hide. So just to show and prove that, I found it by going to the legal website, um, Justia. Hold on a second. Hold on a second here. Let's pull this up here. I took screenshots so I could blow it up so everyone can see it. Okay. So show and prove that mark, African Americans, China owns it. China got into this whole, conscious game a few years ago. And as you know, one of their main agents is Boyd. What's his name? Boyd Watkins, Chinese agent. Okay. So hold on. And many of these Pan Africans are now backed by Chinese individuals. So African American trademark details. As you see, this is the site trademark Justia. This is a legal site here where you can find law cases, etc. Um, and this is where I found it. So let's blow it up here. Make sure everyone can see it. Right? See that term, African American mark, word mark. Okay. And filing date was, as I said, a couple of years ago, 2021, June 3rd. And they got into this whole deal a few years ago, right? So let's go to screenshot number 2 here. There it is here. Okay, let's make this bigger. Okay, you see that there? See all that goods and services. So it's not only the words, but dolls, clothing, you know, toys, stuffed toys, anything that has that their mark and that word, classification, international class, games and playthings, Christmas trees, ornaments, spreading it around. And the most important, what do we see here? Status, it is active. Okay? Now, although they got it removed off of the United States Patent and Trade Office website, but it's still active. So they can run, but they can't hide from us. We are resourceful. We will find you. You see here, current trademark owners. Same guy presented last year. Party name Louis Ding Yan, Chinese individual. Okay? Um, and let's go to the other. I don't. Did I just? Oh, okay. Go here. And to the fourth one, I believe here. Correspondences. And this is Bo Li Yuan, and this is the attorney who filed the application for his client. The name we just saw, Louis Ding Yan. Okay? So if you agree and use this social construct, it is now a trademark owned by a Chinese individual, which means that, of course, he also lives in China, which means China owns it, the CCP. Now, as we mentioned before, previous presentations, I mentioned that China pumps in millions of dollars to HBCUs because they've been taken over by real Africans, both students and professors, and they could become their spies for the CCP. Okay? So if you agree that you're an African American, you are owned by China. So now, so let's read the signs, family. So now we know that they're coming over in droves, crossing our borders. Now there's this huge promotional energy to get us to go over there. And if you subscribe and agree to that term, that mark, African American, you are owned by the CCP. See how this works? See how you we should just take these pieces of evidence and we can draw reasonable, logical, sensible inferences and conclusions, family, to what's really happening here. Are you going to be duped? Are you going to allow yourself to be suckered? You're going to do something about it. You're gonna not comply. You're gonna not you're not going to accept the contract to agree to that being called that mark. It went beyond a social construct. Now it's intercommerce. It's a trademark. The more you say it, the more it's written in books. When they start retroactively throwing it back into our genealogical records, the value, that trademark value, increases monetarily, family. Okay, so now we're going to get into again disputing because they're using these celebrities to help promote and get us to go over there to parts of West Africa, right? And one such celebrity, and I mean, she is just trolling. I mean, but this is what these celebrities do. Whether you're an actor, a singer, they don't have a choice because they're contracted and they're owned. So they get paid to, sponsor certain brands, and think of this whole campaign as a brand, family, a marketing brand, and they recruit and pay celebrities to help them with their plans. And last presentation a few days ago, we did Denzel, and today this segment will be dedicated to Vanessa Williams family. Now, she is a huge troll because Vanessa Williams talked about in Africa. You put her in Africa next to an African, she's trolling. She sticks out like a sore thumb. That's no difference than Megyn Kelly, the journalist, saying, "Oh, she's going back home to her people." Okay, but let me show this quick video of Vanessa um, trolling family, trolling.
I'm going to show you how to play this super cool and easy lick. This is actually way easier.
On all the after-hour parties, so that's one aspect that we also did the last bath.
Let's back it up here.
Google 広告ならあなたのビジネスを広く知ってもらえる。その理由は
The biggest kind of shift, besides being felt like you're welcome back, it's the ease. Walking into a hotel, walking into a restaurant, walking into the airport, and they're black people. And you're not being judged. One of my inspirations, she's a pioneer. She's somebody that inspires me, and I know she's going to inspire you.
Hold on a second, family. Hold on. Let me set this thing here right here.
She's in Ghana, and I had to catch up with her, even though she just finished her yoga. She's in her gym suit, and I'm like, Vanessa, I need to interview you whilst you're in Ghana. And we have a few things in common, by the way, Vanessa. Okay, so the first thing is we both have 4 children. We're both Pisces.
March
I'm March the 13th. You're March the 18th.
That's right.
Yes. And I was born in 1983, and 1983 was when you won
Absolutely.
Miss America.
South Africa.
Yes. So come on.
Lots of I love it. I love it. And we're both here in Ghana.
And we're both here in Ghana. I do sing, but I haven't sold 20 million albums, and I haven't won a Grammy. I haven't won an Oscar. I haven't won Image Awards. But you have.
Well, no, I've been
nominated
for all of those.
All of those.
Yeah. But
that's
nice
incredible.
It's nice to recognize. But thank you for acknowledging my chillness, because I just finished yoga outside by the pool. I've done yoga by the beach. It's been amazing to be here for the first time.
Living in the US, achieved all you have, and come to the motherland. I'm sure a lot of people have recognized you.
A lot of Americans are here. That's
That's
the trippy part. Okay. Every day I've run into somebody that I know.
Wow.
Or somebody that knows, I've got 4 children.
Yeah.
One of my daughters, Lion Babe,
Yes.
Jillian, had broke over in England
Yeah.
about 10 years ago or whatever. So I've said Jillian's mom, or Chance the Rapper, just saw him last night at dinner. He's like, love your daughter. I'm doing the show. Are you going to be here? Dave Chappelle, that I've known for years. Like, remember we did Arsenio back in the day. We're going to go see him. But besides that, neighbors, friends, people that are part of our daily lives are all here for the same reason. Of course, December is the time to come. So you can enjoy the holidays, you can party. We did Afrochella, we've done all the after-hour parties. So that's one aspect, but we also did the last bath yesterday.
Yeah. And how
We
was
did
that?
Elmina Castle yesterday, which is exhausting and extraordinary. What we are taught as African Americans is a minor bit of history to where we come from and what happened to us as captive slaves brought to America. So that was soul stirring, but also just to describe the last bath in a nutshell. You are supposed to wear white. We had a cassava shell that had our name, and I'm Adwa, born on a Monday.
Are you Adwa?
Yes, Adwa. So I had that carved on there. And we had a ceremony with the chief. Kwame was our tour guide, but our storyteller to tell us about the history. And after he told us about the last bath, and this is where they were taken before, after walking 400 miles in shackles after being captured, to go to the castle to be
for their journey, across the sea. We were wrapped in beautiful garland of.
Now look at that family. Look at Vanessa next to dude right there. I mean, she's trolling. Okay, she's really trolling. So we'll just play a couple more seconds of this here.
Protective greenery, asked to take our shoes off, took our shoes off, walked down the path that our ancestors would have walked down. It was an arch that said this is the last bath, and we were not allowed to go to the last bath. We went to the welcome return bath, which we got a chance to walk down that part of the river and do a ceremony to thank our ancestors for to allow us to be here. Yeah. So we did prayers, we had silence, we drank a little libation in their honor.
So this is they took it to a whole nother level for their family. They took it to a whole nother level with the welcome Christopher with the now using the celebrities and getting them there on the ground to promote it. That's a powerful sales tool because the again most of us are still under this spell and there's a lot of people will be motivated to purchase that ticket to go there, right? So let's confirm Vanessa Williams' genealogy, right? Because according to the script in this hustle that she's selling us, no different than your classical any other African scam, your Nigerian scams, right? They're trying to get us and get our finances, family, right? So we're gonna get into um, Vanessa's genealogy, just like we got into Denzel's, and so we will again have our sister um, back out of this here. How do YouTube? Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's bring back on the Ayers Johnson here, and she will take it away. Um, Ayers Johnson, you there?
I I gotta get used to this name. I gotta get used to this name.
All right, well, go
Greetings,
ahead.
everyone. Greetings,
Sure,
greetings, greetings. Monty, you are team too much, sir. Team too much. Um, yeah, that I. This is interesting. I never seen this video with Miss Williams. What country is this again? Ghana.
yes, that's Ghana. Yes,
Okay, okay.
and remember when you listened,
Mhm.
she said she was there with Dave Chappelle was there with her, Chance the
Mhm.
Rapper, right?
Mhm.
They were all there.
That is so interesting. Chance actually is a royal name. There are the chances of going back from New England back to, of course, to Ireland, Spain, Wales, Kent, Wales. Very noble name. So that's interesting. Chappelle already did his genealogy. I wasn't able to go back too far on him, but didn't find any Africans. I can tell you that. And Miss Williams, that's gonna be fun. All right, so her ancestors are somewhere probably spinning in their graves. And it's so disrespectful to push that narrative. If you want to lie about your own ancestors, then that's fine, but don't lie on us. Don't lie on everybody. Make that your ancestors, you know, somehow were able to come, crawl through the jungles and end up in the bottom of a ship or a sailboat and somehow keep her complexion and stick out like a sore thumb, I'm sure, and end up here. But that's not the reality. I just so happened I had did her genealogy about a month ago because she was on that show. If you all are familiar with, it's called "Who Do You Think You Are?" So I was just doing this because you know how you get these notifications. They'll give you YouTube always give you an alert and say you might be interested in this show. Just so happened I was minding my business, doing my genealogy like I never like I never mind my own business, but I was doing my genealogy and I just so happened to be on at the same time. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do this live with her. I'm going to do her genealogy as they're doing the genealogy as well. And that's not what I found. I didn't find, what she's saying, but you all, I don't know, maybe it's me. So hopefully your eyes will see what I'm seeing and, you know, and we could actually tell a different story from Miss Williams. Maybe she just doesn't know. Maybe that's what it is. All right, so let me get to sharing my. Let me see. How do I do this again? Oh Lord help. Okay. Share screen. Okay, share screen. Um. Okay. All right. I think I'm sharing, Amani. I don't know if you have to do something on your end. Oh, yep, yep. All right. How's everybody doing this lovely evening and then your morning, Amani? All right.
Doing very, very well. It's a
Okay,
blessing.
perfect. Perfect. All right, so we're going to start like we did with Denzel. We're going to start with, and let me know if my mic goes out because I noticed I listened to the replay on the other video and it was doing some goofy things. So hopefully it doesn't do the same thing tonight. But so this is Vanessa. This is her father. He was born in 1935, the same year as my dad was born, and this gentleman, Mr. Williams, transitioned on January 2006. So this is him. This is his daughter Vanessa. She had a brother named Christopher. I can click on her information just so you all can see. Now, as you see, this is same people: Milton Augustine Williams. I don't know who these people are, but oh, this is her children. I'm sorry. I think this was from her first husband. So this is Miss Williams, born 1964 at same dates of when she was born. So we'll go back to Mr. Williams, her dad. Um, and then this is his wife, Iris Carl. Now, when she was on the show, she wasn't so worried about her mom's line. She was mostly worried about her dad. She couldn't go back that far. They were from the Oyster Bay, New York area. That's where she comes. That's where she was born and raised. And then we're going to go back on to his father. His father was Milton Abner Williams, born out of Tennessee. Someone at some point migrated to New York. I think they have his race there. Here, but let me see. I'm gonna see if they do. Because at one point in this genealogy, they lied about what he was. Okay, they're still saying black here, um, or colored or Negro. But at some point they're going to start fibbing about their race or nationality. Well, not nationality, but their race. So far we're at this point. Um, this is his wife, Iris Carl, as I said before, Mary Phillips. We're gonna go with this line in a little while, but I'm gonna come back to that in a moment. So this is we'll go back another generation to Mr. John Williams, and now we see that they're coming out of Mississippi, 1872. He was a barber. He owned his own barbershop. And let me see, is this one they started filming about? Let's see. Nope, they still have him as a melanated individual. 1867. These are his children. Once again, he was a barber, owned his own shop. Um, you'll start seeing more children as we get a little bit further back because at this point they're farm owners. They have their own farm, so they have to have multiple, lots of children. So she also has Turners in her family. That's a good line. I can't remember if I went on that line or not because she had so much good things going on in her genealogy. I think I just felt focused on this particular line and the Williams. So then I was able to go back. Let me see. 1845, George Williams, laborer. So he may have been just working on the farm, may not have. I'm not sure if he necessarily owned. He should have, but maybe he was in transition or something. They were out of from Mississippi to Tennessee for some reason. Not sure why. Okay, he's still showing up as melanated. We're in 1880, 1880 census. And then I think I can go back maybe one more time. So we got Balaam Williams. There's a Charlotte Moore, which I think is interesting. Queen Charlotte Moore probably was named after her. Um, and then Balaam was out of Claiborne, Mississippi, which is one of my ancestors out of that area as well. So we have 1824, Mississippi. He was a farmer. And let's see what they have for him. Uh, okay, we got him melanated. So he came from Virginia, ended up in Claiborne, Mississippi. These are his children. Occupation farmer. And the farthest we can go back is with his wife, Vina Williams. It just says when she was born, when she died, and they really don't have a lot of information on her. So what I'm going to do is go back to let's see. I want to get to Miss Mary Fields. As a matter of fact, I already have her pulled up over here. And let's see. Yep, I do. So this is Vanessa's, I think this is her grandmother. So Miss Fields, out of Tennessee, 1876. I think she was educated. I think she was a teacher or something. Either that line or the Carl line. I think they had a lot of teachers in that line. So you see, we can keep going back. This is her grandfather, William Fields, maybe great grandfather out of Tennessee. He was a school teacher because I remember there was a lot of teachers in the family. So he was a teacher. She actually had a picture of him on the show. They showed a picture of him. They do have him as mulatto. Born about 1852. This is the 1880 census. So most of her family was very educated, very very well educated. And then we go from there to a couch, Ira Ward Fields, also out of North Carolina and then Tennessee, farmer. And we're looking at it. We're in 1818. Still haven't seen any Africans at this point. Anybody coming in from Africa? We see a lot of migration coming from North Carolina, Tennessee, things of that nature. I don't know what this means. I'm gonna click on this. I'm not sure if that's United Kingdom, but it's usually what that means. I don't know why that has it next to her name, but she's coming about out of North Carolina as well. So let me go back for a moment. And so we're in Tennessee. We have a Bryce Ward Fields. Now we see how we get these children, more children. Lashina. I don't think pale people were naming their children Lashina, Lashina at that time. We have Lubelvia. That's definitely an indigenous Aboriginal name. Um, let's see. We have Ira Thomas Fields. That was one of her ancestors. So I think that's always funny for them to claim these ancestors with these very, now they would probably say these are ghetto names. I'm not calling them ghetto, but you know how society now would say, oh, that's a ghetto name. But it's interesting. But when they mean something behind it, everybody's claiming these ancestors. So that's interesting to me, except the people that should be that should be claiming them. All right, so we're gonna keep going back to Bryce Ward Fields, and out of North Carolina, my favorite state right now. We're starting getting into farmer adjunct. That means he owned his own farm. He's a major farm holder. I think at this point, see, he owned his own farm, and it even shows the real estate. Now they're going to start lying. Well, they're going to say white, but at this point, it's really just a what do you call it, status. He wasn't a non-melan. He's still a melanated person. White. When you start seeing real estate value, and when you start seeing that they own their own farm, all of a sudden it'll change to white, and to put in your mind that these people were pale faced and they were not. So he already shows that he's at real estate $700. That's a lot of money back then. He has, once again, pale people did not have that many children. They could not successfully have this many children during this time. Lucretia is I know so many Lucretias is ridiculous even to this day. A lot of these names are going to be Hebrewic, what I call Hebrewic name, or they're biblical names. Not saying that these people were Bible thumpers or anything like that, but they just happen to have a Hebrewic origin to them. All right, let me look at the chat for a minute. All right, I think I'm doing good. All right. So we're going to keep going back. The Ward family, that's a good family. I'm not going to focus on them. Just going to keep going on this Fields family. All right, so we're at the Fields, and Jacob Fields is a oh, that's a good name, the Gibson family. Oh my goodness. Um what is it? 1763, North Carolina. More than likely, he owned his own land as well. Let me just see. So now they're going to start, and the census is going to show slaves and all this crap. Don't pay any attention to this as a family members most of the time. Or it could have been hired help, but this was not what we would think slaves as AKA us or anything like that. All right. So then we're going to keep going back to James Fields. Let me see. Is it this one where I want to be? Here it is. Okay, so we're getting good. Look at this. Now her family is the family that came through from the returnees. I like the way Amani says. He said they got on the wrong boat. So her family ended up coming out of from England or Ireland to Barbados. So they came in through Barbados. From Barbados, they ended up in New York, North Carolina, and then these would be through this particular lineage is where I'm going to find this particular individual I want to focus on. So this is Mr. Samuel Fields. He married, let me see, this the one. Yeah, this is the one I want to go to. Samuel Fields here. I don't know why I did it over here. That's weird. Okay. So this is the same family member around 1640, Barbados, British West Indies, Barbados, and then they ended up in Virginia. Look at this. So we have a Mr. James Fields. Look at this. Who is this? Julia Elizabeth Parker, Cherokee Powhatan. Now this is the same family. Let me think. Oh, this was his father. I should have just went back one more time. All right, so let me look at Miss Cherokee Park. Look at that. My goodness. Okay, Miss Parker. She was indigenous. And she also, so when you see this right here, Cherokee, that probably wasn't the tribe at the time. It would have been, I think, Chalagi, but somebody in the Cherokee, new Cherokees, and have claimed her. They're saying this is her ancestor. Their ancestors more than likely is a pale face, and they are claiming this particular ancestor. But what's good to know is this Parker name. Don't get caught up in the part. If you see it going back to England, this is an indigenous name. So then we're going to keep going back on the Parker, and we get to a Mr. Francis Parker. Um, all of these would have been Indians. They just for whatever reason they just concentrate on this one, but they all would have been indigenous. What kind of name is that? Co-France. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm not gonna, not gonna mess with that name. All right, so this is Sir Francis Parker coming up out of England, coming back home, ends up in Massachusetts. And let me see. I want to get to the look at this. Still haven't found anybody from Africa. Now we're getting to the barons of the family. We the Holmes is who this particular individual is married to. Once again, one of the returnees, Thomas Parker. He's a baron. I'm trying to find Miss Williams. I'm trying to find your African people, but I'm not finding. I'm not finding them. They got to be here
Hold on,
somewhere.
Aretha. They're saying the screen's not showing. Hold on a second. Are you
What
sharing?
happened?
You are sharing something. You're sharing your screen, right?
I am. I thought I was. Wait, it says
Hold on
stop
a
sharing.
second.
Is it something on your end?
No, hold on. Can't see
I'm gonna stop and then start again.
screen.
I'm sorry. I won't. I don't. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm sorry. Should I stop?
Wrong tab. Okay. What about now?
Oh, you see it now?
Okay, yeah, D says she can see it now. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, everybody can see. Okay. And you all see this is where I'm you know what? Let me go back then since you all missed all I don't know where you missed that, where we stopped. So I'm gonna go back to can you all still see it?
Yeah, one Janet said she didn't. It's showing Samuel.
What is it? Oh, I
Um,
see what it's doing. Okay, I see what
you
it's
can,
doing. Okay, we're here. All right, for some reason, I'm sharing on this line. So let me just keep going back. See if it'll take me
and
to
they're
the same.
saying
Okay.
it's not in focus. Um, hold on. One thing, family.
Mhm.
Um, she's not able she's not able to enlarge it because she's
Oh,
working directly from the archives. Can you make
let me
it bigger? There you go. Yeah, there
yeah,
you
yeah.
go. A little bit
Okay,
bigger.
is that better? Can you see it now?
Yeah, yeah, that's better. Yep, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure to check because somebody's saying Samuel Washington. I don't. It should be Samuel Fields, but can you see Samuel Fields, you all? I hope you can.
Yeah, go to the top.
That's not the problem.
What's the
Oh,
problem, Janet? Uh,
is it stuck? Is that what it is, Janet? Oh, it's
oh, it's
better.
better.
Okay.
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 Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you. I'm
You're
so
waiting.
sorry. I'm just in my zone. I need to start looking at this chat. Please forgive me. All right. So we're at Mr. Samuel Fields. This is hopefully you all saw me get to this point. But this is Vanessa's one of her great great grandfathers on on Mr. Williams, his wife, the side, the Fields family. So okay, and then so here we are. They came up out of Barbados, British West Indies. Um, got on the wrong boat, ended up in Barbados, and then from there they ended up in Virginia. So from here you see a Mr. James Fields, and then he married a Julia Elizabeth Parker. She was a Cherokee. I'm sure that probably wasn't her indigenous name. She probably had a different name. But look at this, Julia Elizabeth Parker. So if you know any Parkers, looking at the indigenous part, right? So we're in 1600, and then from there you have Samuel Fields, and then for some reason I don't know why they do this. They'll have one individual listed as a Cherokee, but from what my research is showing me that somebody of some type of tribe or some claim this as their ancestor, so they'll just put Cherokee. They probably were not Cherokee at that time. They probably were some. I'm thinking Powhatan nation or something like that, part of that particular nation. But we'll just go with the narrative. We'll just say Cherokee. And then from there, we go to Mr. Francis Parker, puts us in England, 1569. So he would be the matriarch that came in from England. It would be starting with his generation, him, and then the one after him, and then Massachusetts, where he ended up at. So from there, we still see Julia Cherokee Powhatan Indian. Um, and then we go to their father, William Thomas Parker. Hope you all can still see that. All right. So he was born in 1543, England, Yorkshire, England. He actually was a descendant of a baron. And this is the dangerous part. Look at this. Thomas Ralph Parker, Baron. What I'm going to do is a Google search really quick on him just to see who he was. And if he had any, look at this, Sir Thomas Parker, second Baron of Ecclesfield. So Vanessa, you gonna have to explain, girl. Look at this, even got a crest. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We need you got some explaining to do. How did how did we have how did you skip from Africa to being a baron? How did they do that, Vanessa, Miss Williams? Um, so he was a baron. So if I go back for a moment, I'm gonna see if there's a castle because this is the things that we left. Our ancestors, when they were taken out of Europe or chose to, whether it be by force or by choice, they left a lot of stuff back. Now they're going to give you the whitewash version. I guarantee you, this is not what he looked like. He didn't look like this, but this is more than likely the castle that was left from this particular ancestor. Yep. Yep. So this, where's the castle? But anyway, our ancestors left castles behind. They left all kind of artifacts, very that people are either claiming or just using that particular castle now as a museum. That's what they
One
usually do. They
second,
use it as
Aretha.
a museum.
They can't see the
Mhm.
castle. So when you did the Google search, it's not showing
Oh,
that screen.
they can't. That's what it is. Okay, so when I go to a different page, they can't see it. It stops sharing. Okay, I'm so,
Yeah, that's
I'm
why
getting to this.
you want to make sure when you share it, you're
Yeah.
sharing your entire
Mhm.
screen, right?
I thought I was. I thought I was using sharing the same screen, but I guess not. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry once again. I'm on the roll. But anyway, this particular individual, he does have a castle. He was a baron. That means he was a major landowner. She comes from astronomical wealth. Not only is she coming from wealth, we're coming back home, and this is Mount Eagle. They are a very wealthy family as well. Look at this, John Lord. Lord means major landowner. That's what that means. So then he married into the Barker family. Barker becomes Parker. Barker and Parker are the same thing in a lot of instances. So they
Okay, one second, Aretha.
mhm.
Um, Stop sharing and then do it again, and then make sure you click to where it's doing the entire screen.
Okay.
That's what they want.
Okay, let me do
Yeah.
that then. Okay. All right. All right. I'm just getting on y'all nerve tonight. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Share screen. Share screen. Okay, here it is, entire. I mean, reading is fundamental. All right, so I did click on the entire screen. All right, hopefully that'll work.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Now they
Okay,
want
let me
to
try
see that
another.
castle there.
Yeah, there it is. Man, who said that? Who did that?
That's our tech guy,
Marlon Walker,
Marlon.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
He's our tech guy.
Oh my God. Okay. So you all can see this clearly, I
Yes.
hope. All right, perfect. All right. So this is the going back to who was he? Let me go back. This is Thomas Ralph Parker, if I'm not mistaken. And he was a baron. This is his castle. Now, for some reason, when I click on the castle, it's me showing information about this individual. But this would be that particular ancestor where they lived. It's just going into information about them. Let me see if it's showing. Let me show the castle. All right, no worries about the castle. But anyway, you get the gist of it. There is the family crest for the Parker family. This is Vanessa's. This is her family's crest that she chose to walk away from and say that she's from Africa. So, okay then. And more than likely, they're saying that this is him, but this is not him. They just whitewashed him. But he probably looks similar as far as his dressing and his when he posed for his picture. This is always, you can always look on here, and I think is right here where you can look where it'll tell you when this picture was actually, if it's a real picture. And let's see. But when you click on pictures and want to know more about it, don't try to click on as much information on that particular picture. Sometimes it'll tell you if it's a legit picture or if it's just most of the time it just says it is a actual copy. It's called a faithful copy or something like that. So that means that this is not the real picture. I'm glad I clicked on this. So this is the pedigree of the Parker family. She was related to the Blount, which is a good family. That's Chief Thomas Blount family is coming from up out of here, the same bloodline, same people. What else do we have? And this is something that you all can look up, on your own. So look, you're going into this. Oh man, these some good fam. This is who she's related to. Oh my God. Oh my God. Savage family of major landowners. The Blount family. they all come back. All of them come back, and you can read. You can find a lot of information on these families. So you can Google this and probably pick up this same chart, or I could just put it in the send it to Amani. So anyway, this is who she's related to. So this is just her Parker line. She's an indigenous. Look at this royal bloodline. This is her aunt, Agnes Parker Matthews, royal bloodline. Wh- Vanessa, where is the Africans, girl? What are you talking about? Where they at? Is that a jaguar? Probably is a jaguar. Papua. Are you talking about that image that I was looking at? Yeah, these are jaguars. Yep. Look at that. Look at that crest. The third Earl of Macclesfield. That's according to Wikipedia, which I hate. But look at this. Look at this. And you're going to find things like this. You're going to find actual pedigree charts. I download as much as I can because you're going to usually end up picking up another ancestor if you can click on these pedigree charts. Download it, copy it, or print it out if you can, if you have the capability of doing so. Get as much information as you can because at some point we're coming after these people. I know I want to. Look, Lee Ellen North Baroness, Thomas Parker. And I'm not trying to concentrate just on this, don't get me wrong, but this is interesting because these lines come back and they end up coming back to indigenous bloodlines. So I don't get it. I don't know what she's talking about. Um, how did she become an African? I don't understand. But we can't keep falling for these tricks as a people, you know. And this comes because this is royal bloodline, and this is not just her. All of us, I promise you, all of us have this in our bloodline. Every last one of us. She's no special. She's no different than anybody else. Anybody in this chat, anybody else, myself. She's not any different. She's not any special. This field line, also, I'm not going to do it now, but this particular field line, because I'm from Chicago, that's where I'm born and raised. Marshall Fields was a high-end clothing store. This is the same Fields line. I did the genealogy on Marshall Field. He's related to these fields. So now I'm finding out, now I'm realizing that Marshall Fields was more than likely a melanated man and somebody stole, they stole his name and during the that after that fire that we had here in the 1800s here in Chicago. So yeah, it's sad that our people will fall for the okey doke. They won't listen to their grandparents and believe this nonsense. I'm trying to figure out where is this Fields line coming from. Let me see. Was it her? Hmm. I'm just trying to find where the Indians are coming from, what nation, because I know I looked at it before and it's coming up under one of these names that into the Powhatan Nation. I just can't remember which one it is. I forgot. Darn it. But anyway, yeah, this this is the same fields. She's not African. That's just one line. I did another line on her too. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they are doing this to us. I also wanted to. I'm going to send this to you all. This another list, another little goodie for you. Where is it? Mm, oh, I was telling someone about Black Hawk. Cases that he Baker and anyway, any very because again, I'm Chicago. This is my area. I live on a highway, past a highway called Army Trail, which was Black Hawk territory. This is Mr. Black Hawk. This is his wife. Her name was her indigenous name. She also went by Sally Baker. She's a baker. He goes by Pius's. I think he was. Well, this is his father, Pius's baker. You can look him up. But these are the Bakers. This is your Black Hawk family, the Baker family. and she was a singer. So the first thing I thought about thinking about her being a singer, her last name being Baker, I thought about what's her name? Anita Baker. That's my first thought, Anita Baker. That's probably she's probably related to this Baker family. They're from the Midwest. They also had ties to the Pontiac tribe in Michigan. This is probably Anita Baker. So that's one family. What else would I want to look at? So I'm going to make sure it's another. It's a list. Okay, so my family. So my mom comes from Mississippi, Chicago, Mississippi, and then Mississippi on my mother's side. She was a Hall. Her mother's was a Bryant. That's where I got that Bryant connection. This Bryant came up out of Tyrell County, North Carolina. I want you all to please look at this list. This is important because it shows that this is what they used to make it seem like our people were slaves. This is the master, right? This is the apprentice, not slave, but apprentice. So what they did is they took and these lists like this and kept master here, and then changed this to slave. In most cases, you'll see like this is one of my ancestors right here, William Rose. Robert Hill is Bryant and the Hill family are very synonymous. They kept mirroring into each other. So look at this. Robert Hill, age 3, son of Robert Hill. So this proud Robert Hill, I think he died in the war. With consent of mother Ann Davis. They were getting consent from, in a lot of cases, from their mothers, and they were just being trained to be a cooper. A cooper is a barrel. It's one of those things that they used to put I think wine and things of in a barrel. That's what a cooper is. So he had this particular he was trained to do this from the age of 3. That's why these people were so what do you call it? Independent. That's why they were so brilliant, because they started him at a very young age. He was 3 years old. He wasn't a slave, he was an apprentice. Okay. Okay, I'm looking at the Real Tachiness Defense League. All right, I'll make sure I leave this. I'm going to send this to Amani. But you're going to see a lot of good names on here. You got the Hills family, the Davis. Here we go with this Davis, who I love, that family. You got the Bateman, the Tarkington, Alexander, all of these people. This thing is, I forget how long it is, but I'll make sure you all look at this list. It'll have on here how long. Most of the time it says mulatto, free person of color. These were all indigenous people for the most part. Most of these people were Indians. And what happened was there was a huge war in North Carolina and Virginia, which made a lot of people ended up migrating to this particular county, Tyrell County. There's a lot of research on this county. So I'll make sure I send this link to Amani so he can send this out as well. Also, what else did I want to send you guys? Um, I had another link I wanted to send you. Where is it? Any questions for me? Any questions, Amani?
Um, no, that's nothing
No.
else. That's very powerful information,
Okay.
and very valuable
Oh,
that the family could do some research, and that's what it's all
absolutely.
about.
Absolutely. And then if anybody needs that link again that I talked about the other day with those names on it, I'll make, just reach out to Amani and we can get that. But I wanted to do something also on this snake. Henry Louis Gates. About him as well. He was inducted to look at this. The Sons of the American Revolution. I want to punch him in his face. I literally want to punch this man in his face. He was inducted into this Sons of the Revolutionary War. I can leave. You can look this up, or I can send this to you too as well, Amani. Now he's notorious for sending people to um, Walkers is a good name. Walkers is a good name. Oh my God, that's a good name. Walkers. But anyway, he's notorious for telling people, that they're from Africa, blah blah blah. Well, this snake, when he was inducted into this particular society, which is it's hard to get into this society, He was supposed to be looking for 5,000 so-called African Americans who served in the Revolutionary War so that they would be granted access just like himself. He found himself to linked his bloodline to a gentleman by the name of, here he is, John Redmond. If there's any theory that might be answer to, he was listed as the first person called, this is John Redmond right here, born about 1760, Culpeper, Virginia. I think this is the right one because it was another one. But he served in the Revolutionary War. This is who Henry Gates linked his lineage up to. The Redmonds also are returnees. They actually come up out of West Virginia. They part of the Powhatan. A lot of these Redmonds are linked to the Bryant family. And they come up out of North Carolina. He linked himself to this particular individual. Also, let me see if this is the one I wanted to show you. I have a photo. Mm, I think this is it. Look at this. I'll tell you how indigenous this Redmond family. Look at this. Mataha Johnny Redmond. It's not an accident or it's not a fluke that this Redmond ends up the same Redmond, or that name. This is a name that carries over into indigenous names. This particular clan is the Choctaw Indians. You'll find in here the Cole family, the Redmond family. You'll find the Carpenter family. They're out of Tennessee, Mississippi, Old Alabama. Natchez, Mississippi. This is a lot of these Indians. The ones that got, I believe, the ones that got caught up in that particular the peach. What was that? The Devil's Peach Bowl. These were those Indians. Their last name was Cole, Redmond, Carpenter. Um, what else? Smith, Forsyth, if I'm not mistaken. There was a lot of them. This is that particular Redmond family that this snake traced himself to. So he was supposed to be getting in touch with all of us, letting us know that, look, he
Breaking
found
off.
his and he's supposed to help us, but he didn't. Yeah, order the Redmond. So I'll make sure that if you all want this to look at this and maybe put it, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this particular. I want to punch him in his face. But anyway, I can send this to you as well, Amani. But these are some names that are synonymous. And then the last one to say real quick, there was and we hear about Sarah Rector all the time, but a lot of people are not particular gentleman right here. His name is Jackson Barnett, and he was considered the richest Indian in the world. He also came up out of North Oklahoma. Um, and I wanted to sort of talk about him a little bit because a lot of people are not familiar with him. I don't know who this man is, but this is not the real Jackson Barnett. Let me just say that real quick. Jackson Barnett, let me see if I can expand this. His family was supposed to be of his father, Siah Barnett, it says, was a mixed blood Creek Indian. Actually, he was a full blooded Indian. And his mother was mostly a full blood Creek Indian as well. So they both were considered Indians. This is supposed to be this particular individual. His situation was similar to Sarah's, where they had somebody, overseer, that took over his belongings because he allegedly was injured as a little boy, and they found oil on his land, and he became extremely wealthy. A lot of people don't know about him, but just so happened, me minding my own business, being nosy, I decided to look up his genealogy, and I started with who did I start with? I started the Barnett because Barnett is my family. No, not. My mother's mother was a Barnett, but so what I did is I went to Jackson, this particular individual. Her name is Margaret Hannah Hawkins Barnett. She's from Boley, Oklahoma. She's the one that actually started Boley, Oklahoma. That very prosperous land that was in not North Carolina, Oklahoma. So this is the Barnett family. They're all listed as Indians. They're all indigenous, all of them. So in that Barnett family, going back to Jackson Barnett for a moment, Remember, his father's name was Saya Barnett. Saya. So I'm going to go back to Margaret Barnett. This is her husband, Barnett. And guess what? They had a son named Saya Barnett. And you know they're Indian because look at this: Timothy Tabochi Barnett. We have I don't know if that's supposed to be War Snake, Warnicky Barnett. And then, so I'm going to click on now. She's melanated. Everybody is very well documented that she's a melanated individual. This is her husband, Thomas Barnett. So here's Saya Barnett, right? Saya Barnett is actually, let me see. No, maybe this is an auntie. But anyway, Saya Barnett this is Jackson Barnett's father, right? So we got Saya Barnett, Creek Nation Indians, Arkansas laborer. Look at this, Bryant, Okomoji, Oklahoma is where she died. She's part of the Creek Nation. Look at this. When we get to Saya, here's this Jackson Barnett. Here he is. 1842. He was born in Oklahoma. He moved to he had a pale face, I think, that took advantage of him, and he died in California when he was very old. He didn't have any. I don't think he had any biological children. Maybe he did. I don't know if these were his biological children. He was the wealthiest Negro Indian in the world. For some reason, they're showing us this man. Maybe it's something wrong with my eyes, but he doesn't look like a Negro to me. I don't know who this is. I don't know. Does he look like a Negro to you all? Oh,
No, a little
is it
bit,
me?
a little bit different. You know,
No.
Probably
Okay. That's
a
not him.
sit-in actor, step-in actor.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
justify the
absolutely,
hijack.
absolutely, absolutely. But he's just as what he was. If he wasn't as wealthy, he was even more wealthy than Miss Rector. The family was just as wealthy. And let me see if they have any definitions. Let me see if they have any description of Saya. Let's see. Look at this, colored black. This is Jackson Barnett's father. They have him as colored and black. He was part of the Creek Nation Indian lands. And then his mother, where is she? They call her Titi. Um, Here she is. And see, she was an indigenous too. Look at this name. This is her father's name. When you see names like this is an indigenous name. I don't think they have her description, but it should have been on here. I have a description of her elsewhere. But she was a full-blooded Indian. She was a full-blooded Indian. Look at this. Andrews. We got Barnett, as we know. All of these people are indigenous. Baker family, once again, for the Black Hawk family. Who else did I wanted to? I already did that one. It was somebody else I wanted to say. Oh, this is the Harris. I wanted to say this because a shout out to D. D, if you trace your bloodline, this is Knight Arthur Harris. His descendant was, oh, look at this. For those that don't like Blackmore, here's a Blackmore. This is a Walker that married into the Smith family. He had a manor. They have a manor in England still under the Smith family. It's called the Blackmore Manor. So if you're a Smith, Walker, this is your manor. You can look him up. But anyway, I was going to say with the Harris, there was a Captain John Harris, who was a direct descendant of Arthur Harris, and they said that Arthur Harris is a direct descendant of Charlemagne. So they said this individual is a direct descendant of Charlemagne. So I'm thinking Charlemagne's, if he had a last name, it would have been Harris. That's how tricky these people are. They said, oh, they didn't have last names. They had something. They had titles. So this is Arthur Harris, direct descendant of King Charlemagne, who's in this Arthur Harris, King, oh my gosh, the Indian John Harris I think he was the Catawba Nation. I'm putting everybody as Catawba. It might not have been Catawba. This is his direct ancestor. So once again, you have all of these names that mostly melanated so-called Black people have: Walker, Smith, Johnson, all of these names, Barnett. and they want to tell us that we got him from a slave master. Parker, we see Parker is indigenous. I'll make sure I get this. Oh, this is another one. This is the last one. I'm gonna say this real quick. This right here is called the Coastal Carolina Indians. These are free people of color. There's a lot of names. Look at this. Look at this. This is a good one right here, girl. Look at this. All right, so we have people. Come on. Let's see. Look at this. Not only do they have, these are free people of color, all of these people. They're also telling which name this, right? I'm trying to expand it. Oh, what am I doing? These ads slow everything down. That's what it is. The ads. Okay. So anyway, I'll make sure I add this to the list as well. So we got Blango. We have Solomon Blango, part of the Tuscarora. We have William Horn. These are all free people of color. And they're also, this is a part of the indigenous tribe. And this is the county that they came from. So this is Beaufort County in North Carolina. This is Bertie County. The Wiggins family, I know I mentioned it the other day. That's Tuscarora. Part of this is the Bartlett family, the Chavez family, Hall family, James family, Jones. These are all free people of color. Then we want to go to the Cataract County. Look at this. Carolina, Carter, Fisher. These are the last name Clark, Chowan County, North Carolina. I'll make sure I send this over. And then we got Copes. When they have it right here, that means that they were, remember, I think I mentioned an Allen. That means he was a chief. So he was a chief of the Tuscarora. Copes was a chief of the Tuscarora. Dove, part of the Matamusket, which was part of the they came from the Tuscarora as well. Mitchell, I mentioned him the other day. That's Tuscarora. And then I'll have land information on this page. I'll make sure this is a good document to have. I'll make sure that I send this to Amani as well. So, alrighty. So I'm talking too much. I know I am. All right,
No,
Amani, you
no,
could go
no.
ahead and
You,
take
you,
over.
you, you are. Yeah. Thanks a lot. That was very, very powerful. And I feel they
Uh-huh.
want to know about your channel there, Lord, Lord Johnson.
You
So
know,
your
I
own YouTube
haven't.
channel.
I guess I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with the channel yet. I guess I better get started, but because I got so much information, it's a shame to be holding all this information. But I just been in the background researching you all. This is King Tom Blount, the Blount, and the Hancock. Those were those chiefs that fought in that war. So, and they were actually cousins. So if you read about that Tuscarora War and it talks about King Blount being he didn't really want to get involved, and King Hancock, who was described as a Moor. King Hancock was actually a direct descendant of John Hancock. All of these families are connected. But anyway, King Blount was he was part of the Tuscarora, I think, that went north, and then it was a Tuscarora that went south. Um, Again, if you're a Blount or a Blunt, and they were they were tobacco farmers, and then they were actually hemp farmers as well. So now I figured out where that word blunt comes from. I guess it comes from. Oops, I hope I don't get you in trouble. But anyway, that's where it comes from. This chief. So we got Mitchells. We have Hancock. Look at that Hancock. Here he is. I just saw it. Here we go. Hancock. Yep. The southern was Hancock, and the north was about Blunt. They had a huge fight. King Blunt, no, King Hancock, unfortunately, lost his head. He was captured and they beheaded him. But this was his cousin. They were cousins. So a lot of this we have to really understand. This was family wars. They were fighting. Again, they came back home. Everybody just didn't like everybody. Had different personalities going on, different things going on, different ideas, ideologies. Some, Christianity and all that stuff got intermingled in this. But these really see. You'll see. Look at this white woman, 20. Look at this. This telling you who the slaves were right here. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. I haven't looked at this in a while, you guys. All right, so I'll make sure that I send this to you, Amani, so that you can send this out to the family so that they can look at it, look for their family members. Um, and take it from there. All right.
Awesome. That was very very powerful. We appreciate you. The family in the chat appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And we will continue this series of genealogical warfare, focusing on these sellout celebrities to to sell out their own ancestors for money is just that's just low and despicable,
Yeah, it
right?
is. It really is.
And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And we're going to close out, family, with one of the esteemed families down there in South Carolina, because I just got to remind uh, the new family who didn't see any of this. I presented this in full context a few years ago, but okay, hold on. Let me drop my email in the chat for everyone here. Here you go.
And if anybody didn't see the video on the other day, what I had mentioned was Amani had sent me a video about in regards to 25 celebrities that this African narrator said that they all had African ancestry. And I was so livid because once again, at the end of the day, it's disrespectful to our ancestors. It's disrespectful to the indigenous American Indians, autochthonous people of this continent, as well as our royal background, because all of us have that royal background too that goes back to Wales because we were the original Brits, Irish or Ireland, Wales, England. That was us. That was all us. We just went out there and then, got in a mess and had to come back home, with that Jacobite, with the Stewart family. So this is why I went on this venture, plus doing my own genealogy, trying to recompass some land that, that was stolen, that was illegally stolen. All of this encompassed into one. But it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I have to share this with the family because enough is enough. None of those people that was in that video, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, who else was it? Beyonce. None of them were from Africa. They don't have any African. They have the same genealogy as you and I, either indigenous, autochthonous, or royalty, and it overseas, wherever Europe was at that time, coming back home. That's it. No African. You the only African I ever seen in my genealogy was a Boone, and he was related to Daniel Boone, and they said he was a Hebrew Israelite born in 1745. So they're just lying. That's all they're doing is lying.
Right, and one thing I want to share this with the family before we get to the esteemed Gaylord family, real quick, family. So now remember, we saw the video with the Ghanaian president, promoting that product to go back to Africa, right? And then we found, although the China had the African American taken off of the United States Patent and Trademark website, we found it on a legal website, and it's still active, owned by China, African American. Now, regarding Ghana, here's new information. Okay, and email me. I'll send you the links, and so you can have all this information for yourself. So
You
this
broke up a little
particular
bit of money.
article. Okay, hold on.
Okay,
All right, screw the headsets. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
I can hear you fine. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So um, here's an article, and the International Monetary Fund has disclosed that the Chinese government will likely have access to Ghana's mineral revenue and electricity revenue due to the government of Ghana's failure to honor its loan agreement. According to a news report by what is that? MeJoOnline.com, the fund indicated that this might happen because the government of Ghana is at risk of not being able to repay four loans it acquired from the Chinese government, which it collateralized with Ghana's mineral resources and electricity sales. The report indicated that Ghana, for the past decade, acquired at least eight collateralized loans from China with different mineral resources as security against default. It added that as at the end of 2022, collateralized loans amount to $619 million. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Sorry about that, family. Yeah, let me share my screen here. You gotta see this. Share screen. Share screen. Hide screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let's go back to that article. All right, here. Okay, so this is the article. So the IMF indicated that 619 million in loans were acquired between 2007 and 2018, and they were collateralized with Ghana's cocoa, um, bauxite, and oil, and electricity revenue. Collateralized debt is any contracted or guaranteed debt that gives the creditor the rights over an asset or revenue stream that would allow it, if the borrower defaults on its payment obligations, to rely on the asset or revenue stream to secure the repayment of the debt. Um, and let's go down here. So there you have it, family. They defaulted on their loans. China's going to take over the minerals and the electricity revenue. Um, and they're out taking loans from China, right? And of course, China built a lot of their infrastructure, and they have a whole lot of individuals. As we know, China basically took over major portions of the entire African continent. And but did the president disclose this to our people that they're trying to recruit over there? You know, you see, they're in need of generating a lot of finance. You know, or so we were part of the whole scam to help them pay back their loans to China. You know, so it's your classic scam hustle. Okay? If you're from there, the president should be saying, come over here. We got 200 acres of land for the families that were taken away from their villages 200 plus years ago. We'll set you up with $1 million and cash per family, just like they set up the Ashkenazi Jews who went to Israel. Okay? You got to give land and money if they're actually heirs and long lost family members. But that's not happening. You know, they're sort of trying to sell us a hustle to get us to spend money to help them pay their puppet master, China. Okay, because China owns them. Okay, family. So we can't make any excuses now. There are no excuses. You have the information of what's going on. We know China owns the trademark African American. We know they invest in the HBCUs because they're African um, 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 inferiors will be spies for them. Okay, and one of their operations is to come at us to replace us in America and to get many of us to go over there. That's what's happening. So this article will be available to the family as well. Um, and now you know. Okay, but the president didn't tell you that. Didn't tell anybody that. Right. Yep. Indeed. You know, Empress Hope been telling everyone the entire time about this crap. Right. So I'm going to replay this old video real quick of the present day heir, Gaylord heir, there in South Carolina. Here, I played it before. We're just going to play a quick minute of it because I want you to see Shirley Gaylord and the illustrious names there and that on those sea islands in South Carolina. Uh, Hold on a second here. So here we go. Just gonna play a couple of minutes of this here, family.
We do have a museum in here, and it's not open right now. But this is where the 54th Regiment came on Solitary Island. This is where they stayed overnight. They had camp here, and this is where they stayed before they moved on. But they started here from the water. They came up from the water, and I think they end up on John's Island from here.
There, okay. Let's stop it right here. You see here on the left, you see that name, Shirley Gaylord Carter. This is her. She's right here, right on the left. Okay, right here. She doesn't, you may see her, you may not even pick her out in the crowd. You may walk right by her, take her for granted. But this lady right here is your present day full blood descendant of the Gaylord family. Okay? Present day Gaylord heir right here. And of course, this one here, she's from the Wilder family. Okay? And this, so they call it the Solagari Island. Of course, the Lagari family. I did a presentation on them, another, old illustrious family, major landlords down there. The whole island's named after them. Okay, but the Gaylords, another land holding family. Um, and we will get quickly into this before we're going to end off in our presentation today by going a little bit over the Gaylords. And this is the present day heir. Now, fortunately, she still held on to her land in South Carolina. Okay? Thousands of acres. She still has it. She didn't sell out, even though they're trying to get her to sell, but she's standing strong. Now let's go to the part where they talk about the names.
Soligree, a small coastal community on James Island, famous for its historic Mosquito Beach, a recreational oasis created by and for local African Americans, and one of only 6 beaches accessible to the African American community in the Charleston area during the segregated days of Jim Crow. The beach, whose boardwalk pavilion, restaurant, stores, music club, and hotels once attracted people from all over the Low Country and beyond, is just a piece of what makes Soligree so special. The Soligree community is an island bordered by the Folly, some people say Folly, but we Soligree River on the front end, and on the back end we have the Holland Creek River, and we end up on the Stunno River, where we have a boat landing and newly paved and built pavilion on that end. We are a community of families, and one way or another, all of us are connected. The Richardsons, the Walkers, the Wilders, the Browns and the Backmans, the Greens, the Chaverses, Wallaces are up there also, the Lafayette, the Gilliards, Singleton, and also
Okay, there we go.
the
So
Grants.
these names, family, and of course here the Gaylord names right here. Okay, and all these other illustrious names. Many of you may be descendants and heirs of. These names here are major, major land holdings. Today, these heirs today, unfortunately, hit with the new legal motif they use to take your land called heirs property, and they came up with that legal motif, which will allow them again to get 20% of the heirs to sell, and then they'd force an auction sale, and that's how they're able to take these families' land. Okay, but the present day Gaylord, she still has the family land to this day. Um, so this is what I want to show you now. Quickly here, we're going to move, and let's just go over the Gaylord quickly here. Again here. So let's go over here. Okay. All right. So now, just so everyone's clear, and we use this here source, the Carter G. Woodson, Carter G. Woodson's work, right? There are 2 pieces of work that we use. Um, Shout outs to A1 for the Negro owners of slaves in 1830. And then there's the other one, the free Negro heads of families in 1830. All right. So let's see here. The Gaylords are in there in that work. Let me quickly pull them up real quick here. They're right here. Okay. And this is in the 3 Negro owners of slaves in 1830. Right? So let's blow it up so everyone can see it here. Oh, and then remember Solagari Island that they were on in that video? Here the Lagare heirs right here. James and Thomas Lagare. These are the heirs of the Lagare name, and here they are listed in 1830 as so-called Negro slave owners. Okay, and let's go over here, and we will go down to right there, family. Theodore Gaylord. Let's blow it up so you can see it right here. All right, Theodore Gaylord right there. All right, so in this here, that's why this work by Woodson is very, very powerful, because it's genealogical information that many of your ancestors could be in here, and this is another resource tool to use during your for your genealogical research. So we see the Gaylords in here. Clearly know that they're melanated. We see the present day heir Shirley. She's a major landlord. So now let's just go back and take it way back a little bit on that Gaylord line. And here, so there's Theodore Samuel Gaylord, right? This is the one we just saw in the Carter G. Woodson book. This one here. This one we just saw here, okay? And we go down here. We take it back to his parents. We click here. John Gaylord, born 1765, right there in South Carolina. And then his parent is another John Gaylord. And then another, it goes back, repeats the name Theodore, and there's Peter Bartholomew. But I want to go to the one that came, the progenitor, him here, Joaquin. And Joaquin's the progenitor, okay? Born 1625. And what they say France, but he was part of what they call Huguenots, originally coming out of the Iberian Peninsula when those Moors were kicked out and they had to go to other parts of Europe, and then they came back home. And of course, before he even touched down, he was promised acres of land before he even arrived in South Carolina. And so he's the one who came over. He's the progenitor. And can quickly take a look at his original land grant that was granted to him when he came over. Let's see here. Right here. Let's blow this up. So we see this here. Joaquin Gaylord. He's from France upon the revocation of the Edict of Nantes, 1685, was in South Carolina by October 10th, 1687, when he received 600 acres in Jamestown precinct, settled on the Santee River, okay, Craven County, right? So, and then of course, his descendants, his children, and all the way down that line to the present day Shirley that we saw in the video, all major landlords. Okay, so and we saw the scene with that video, family, the beauty, the how it was, and so just imagine 300 years ago, when the people were 100% fully operational in who they were, and how productive they were, and all of that, um, and unfortunately we've been cut off from that. But we are the pioneers, the young heirs who are inspired by our ancestors to get back to recreate and reclaim what they left for us. This is the purpose of everything we're doing here, family. Okay, this is the perfect time right now. Um, we know that these Johnny Come Lately Pale Skins sold out America. okay? Because they're sucking Xi Jinping's wee wee, all right, and sold everything out. And Chinese coming across, buying up land like crazy in the South, and for some reason they're focused really on Oklahoma. They just went ham in Oklahoma, buying up all kinds of land there, and they're actually starting hemp farms, hemp as in marijuana, hemp farms, huge deal. I'll present that information in a future presentation. But they're walking with suitcases of cash and buying land as we speak right now in the South family. Because we're the heirs to the original titles, we can prevent that. Okay, so this is what this is all about. So I present information that will help us, you know, achieve the ultimate true goal, which we should only be focused on, is confirming your own ancestors' treasure, what they left for you, right? Because everyone's we're all separate. We got to focus on our own ancestors. Some of us could be related, but we have that duty to honor them by doing that research and putting that time in, and confirming what they left. And once you confirm that, then because they were the ones who created the laws, you can use these laws to go back to make your claims. And there's nothing that Johnny come ladies can do about it. Nothing, right? So I wanted to kind of share that information there with the family. And one real quick thing here. When Aretha was showing a lot of the genealogical records, and you would see how they would hijack, and then sometimes with the term, some terms are classifications. Here's an example of that. Now this is I presented this to the family, 3.5 years ago on A1's channel when we went over the Solomon Sir Jones footage back in Oklahoma when he was filming um, during that time. Here's a copy of his passport. Solomon Sir Jones is the gift that keeps on giving. He just been dropping a lot of keys for us the entire time. So here's his passport, right? Let's blow it up here for the family here. Passport. And this was issued, did you see, October 27th, 1924, issued in Washington, Department of State, passport, United States of America. And state of Oklahoma, county of Muskogee. I, Solomon Sir Jones, a native and loyal citizen of the United States. He applied to the Department of State for a passport, okay? And then he listed his father. He solemnly swears that he was born in Haywood County, state of Tennessee, on about the 20th day of August, 1869. His father is John Wesley Jones, right? Born in Georgia. And I did the genealogy and showed that his Sir Solomon Jones' father was a landlord. His grandfather was a landlord. We've seen all of that. But now let's get down to here, okay? He was a minister. He was residing at the time in Muskogee County in the state of Oklahoma, right? And then where did he go? He visited England, France, Switzerland, Italy, Egypt, and Palestine. Reason, travel and study. So, oath of allegiance, right? There's his signatures there. Okay, now, but on this left page, family, is another passport image. So, now all this is from Ancestry.com, because when they provide this information, right? But now on the left side is this other individual named Adelaide M. Hagler Moser. Okay? So now let's go up here to the top. Description of applicant. She's 28 years old at the time, 5 feet 5 inches, eyes brown, nose straight, hair brown, complexion dark. And then here's at the bottom is actually a photo of her. And she's from Detroit, Michigan. Right there. There she is. So clearly a sister right there. You see that right there. Okay. Yeah, she's darker than um, um, than Prince. She's darker than Vanessa Williams, who we just saw in the documentary, right? Vanessa Williams can't put dark complexion. She has to put fair or light, right? So, but now let's go here when you do a genealogy, right here. Pull it up. You see it right here. Adelaide Hagelmoser. Okay, this is the 1920 census. Birthplace, Michigan. Race, what does it say? White, white for race. But we just saw her photo, family, and she's dark complected. But her classification was this. So the point is this: you can't. They're going to throw these obstacles and magic and sorcery just to throw you off and put up roadblocks to discourage you. Do not get bogged down or concerned with the social constructs. And never, ever, when you're doing your genealogical research, do you put in, do not fill out the race category. Never do that. When you're starting your search off, like you go here, right, on Ancestry, and then you go down here to the bottom, you see here race, nationality. You never fill that out. Do not play their game. You can go gender, but you never put that in there, because then that's where you're gonna walk into their house of horrors and be victim to that, and then you're not gonna understand stuff. And you're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna, oh, I can't go back. There's a wall. You see, so that's just some tips there, family, and hopefully you enjoyed the presentation. And we will continue these series here. Um, and again, email me, and then for any information you want that was presented, I will send it to you, um, like I always do there personally. And
Yeah,
uh,
real quick.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I'm always interrupting you. All right. Shout out to the chat. I hadn't been paying attention to the chat at all as far as the original Copper Empress. The fire herself is in the chat. I saw the what was it, the Confederacy. I'm sorry, I forgot your title, but you mentioned something about Johnson. Yep, those Johnsons, they go way back. I had sent a link to Amani that had the most popular American Indian names. They had American Indian, and they separated American Indian from Native American. So I'm sure he can get that out to anybody that requests it. And the number one last name for American Indians was Smith. Number two is Johnson. So Smith and Johnson, as well as Evans and Davis and Brown and Jackson and Walker, and the list goes on and on. You're in good hands. You're definitely, because hell, people didn't have that name. And I just wanted to share this real quick. I'm gonna let you guys go, but I gotta show you how much information I have. So if you all ever get stuck, reach out to Money or myself. He can give you my information, or just get in touch with him. He'll get in touch with me. I got to show you this real quick, though. I got to show you all this really
Go ahead,
quick.
share your screen. Share your
Okay,
screen.
okay.
Be sure to hit entire screen.
I did. You're real funny. I, I think I did. Do you see it?
Okay, hold
I think
on.
it's
Let's
on your
see.
end. Okay.
Well, let's see here. Are you sharing?
Yeah, it says I'm sharing.
Oh, okay, here it is. Here. Okay,
Okay.
there you go. Yep, there it is.
These are all the Williams that I've collected. Okay. These are all the people with the last either Williams in their name or Williams in their last name. So I wanted to show you real quick this particular individual. This is a Barnett. He, if you see this name, or if anybody has his last name Bowling, this is Queen Anne Boleyn. That's her lineage. They come back, become part of the Powhatan, married into the Barnett family. Look at this. Teddy Pendergrass. I wonder if he knew he was indigenous. Clack family marries into the Jackson family, Randolph family. all of these are indigenous people. This is all the information that I have. This is just Williams. I know I saw somebody had said something about the Moors. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But this is King William of Orange. I think he was a Bryant. He was either a Bryant or a Stewart. But anyway, this is his castle, which is my, because this is one of my ancestors. I want my castle. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what they call themselves. I want my castle. But this is the castle that they made into a museum. This was William of Orange. If you find yourself related to this individual, this is your castle. This is your castle. So, they're just temporarily, they're just keeping it warm for us until the rightful heirs of all of these lands, including, next time we do a presentation, I do want to talk about the Mosley family. Mosley started, what do you call it? Mosley out of Australia. That's an interesting story. Free person of color, very interesting story. That's what I said. We have to go worldwide with this. This is not just happening in America, it happened everywhere. We are all royal. We're also autogenous to this land. This is our land. Nobody else owns this land, and we're gonna get it back. No matter what they say or what they try to do, we're gonna get our land back. And all of these invaders, they have to go. I don't feel sorry for any of them. They gotta go. They wore out their welcome. All right, thanks, Amani. Thank you all.
No problem. No problem. Thank you there, Harris Johnson. It was awesome, and thanks to the family, everyone into the chat. I know that this is what they call a Memorial Day weekend for everyone. Be careful out there, and have a great night. Peace. And again, one more, let me drop my email just for the family one more time so everyone can get it there. That's gmail.com. There we go. Thanks a lot there, D. Everyone have a great night.